hottest topics. It's gonna be this weight gain in this middle section. Why does it happen? What's going on? How do we outsmart this? Because you can outsmart this. I really believe in this. Okay, so we're gonna start with looking at this little plant. We have all these little roots coming out the bottom of it, and the function of the roots of the plant is to bring up the nutrients through the soil to nourish the plant so that it can grow healthy and strong. When you take this root system, you rip it out, the plant will die because it doesn't have access to its nutrients. So if you can see, it's literally the same thing as all of our blood vessels, our branches, our arteries. And so one of the basic hallmarkers of almost any disease is going to be a decreased level of blood flow and oxygen. And even if you have hormonal issues as well, hormones, neurotransmitters are all traveling through our bloodstream. Our lymphatic, our immune system is traveling and cleansing just through the bloodstream, helping us out to nourish us and live and grow. One of the best hallmarkers for diabetes is also going to be lack of blood flow to the extremities, so the hands and the feet. And you can look at I do metabolic profiling for people when I first see them. So I'm looking at musculature in the arms, I'm looking for musculature in the legs, and that's going to tell me, that's going to be a great indicator of how well that blood flow is moving, how healthily metabolically this person is. And so when we lack the blood flow to the outer extremities, it's usually due to a high sympathetic tone, so a high elevated stress response for over a chronic period of time. Again, the word chronic is going to be coming down to these patterns that you have every day that have chronically gotten you to a point in time where we're lacking blood flow. So the only way to turn this around is to turn around your daily circadian rhythm. What am I doing in the morning? It's going to set me up for my biochemical cascade trickling down. And so we'll talk about that in just a moment. But going back to the midsection, while we gain a lot of weight here, why do we gain a lot of weight here when we're under the stress response? Well, we gain a lot of weight here because these are our vital, this is the area of the vital organs. So it's your body's last ditch, body's so intelligent, body's last ditch attempt to make sure that you will survive by surrounding the vital organs with fat. Because fat is super important, especially if you're a woman. You know, men can get by with a little bit less body percent fat, but especially if you're a woman, fat is important to have for your hormones to make your body feel safe, because it is nutrient stores. We just don't want to have an excess of it and an excess of inflammation, but it's very healthy to have fat in the midsection. So the best way to draw out the blood and the fat from the midsection, the best way to trim and slim is going to be to develop muscle on these extremity areas, so your arms, your legs. And I always tell people we start with 3 major muscle groups: back, chest, and legs. That's what I stick with for, like, I tell them stick with it for months. You need to hit these extremity areas in order to build muscle to have passive blood flow. So blood flow is super, super important. One of the biggest diabetic complications is neuropathy. So a lot of people lose feeling and they'll get stiffness in their legs a lot. And we'll see a lot of back problems come in, but our back problems are usually most of the time related to our legs, because if we trace not only the circulatory system, but we also trace the nervous system, those nerve impulses are usually going to be backed up and having some problems going down into the legs as well. So again, going into mental nutrition, how do I outsmart my stress response? How do I outsmart it? Well, one of the best things you could do is get some blue light blocking glasses. This is what I wear at nighttime, and this is one of the most beneficial things that you could possibly do. Why? Because you are protecting your melatonin. Our melatonin is so important. If we're gonna have elevated cortisol rates here, again, one of the biggest things involved in diabetes is going to be insulin resistance. So we're going to see a lot of we can just cross over into a lot of different areas, but that's also going to be related to high cortisol release, high insulin resistant rate, and then that's going to mess up your hunger hormone. So ghrelin is our hunger hormone. It's going to be increased because your cells are not getting the energy that it needs. Insulin resistance means no entry to the cell by whatever reason, and your body's going to be, your brain is going to be like, my cells are starving, keep sending hunger hormone. So we know this just by one short night of sleep, the body has more insulin resistance, so that hunger hormone will be there. As long as you become aware of this, you can know that you need to do things to help increase this insulin sensitivity by eating plenty of nourishing foods, by maybe doing a light exercise, workout, stretching, whatever you want to do, and just drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, making sure that you are nourishing the body, and knowing that your hunger hormones are going to be tipped off by just one short night of sleep, if that's the case for you. It happens to all of us. It's just the amount of awareness that you have in dealing with it the next day. So insulin resistance, again, when we put on muscle in the body, when we exercise and we train, we activate extra glucose transporters. So they are insulin independent. So they don't require insulin to be stimulated. That's why exercise is one of the most powerful ways to increase your energy intake. And then again, to get all this excess in the middle out of the way. I kept asking people when they were coming to me first session, what is the one part of your body that you really want to change? And everybody's response was the midsection. And they want to do abs, and they want to do, I don't know, they want to do what they want to do. But my focus was on training, especially the legs, and training back and chest. So these are the biggest metabolic movers, metabolic drivers. And then on top of that, going back again to the lighting exposure, passive health, getting out in the sunlight in the morning, and getting that cortisol intentionally elevated in the morning. Cold showers, exercise, blue light, sunlight exposure in the morning is all ways to get the circadian rhythm back in line. And what happens is we have these hormone centers in the brain. So once the sunlight is seen by your eyes, by your photoreceptors of your cells, it's going to go down and talk to these adrenal glands, these glands that are usually responsible for pumping a lot of cortisol and us gaining a lot of weight in this middle. And we're essentially going to send a safety signal to your body. So you're having cortisol rise in the morning, and then you'll have more efficiency with your melatonin building at night. Just making sure that you're eating your amino acids with tryptophan, animal-based proteins, regenerative, wild-caught, grass-fed animal proteins that have tryptophan, because tryptophan will break down into melatonin. So start getting your biochemical cascades in order. Starts every day. And just because you have a bad day or you have one short night of sleep doesn't mean that you're messed up. It just means that you have to change your game plan, be a little bit more fluid with that, and remember that your blood flow and everything is super, super important. So I don't know if I mentioned that in this video. I did just another take before, but I started working at a sauna and cold plunge studio. If you're in the New Orleans area, I work at a place called Melt. So I love the idea of saunas. I've loved since I found out about them. It is a cardiovascular event, so it is one of the most passive, easiest ways to exercise. And the data that we have from doing sauna per week decreases your risk of all-cause mortality by a significant rate. So the same thing with weight training, strength training, resistance training, and yeah. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and as always, good luck.